Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Backlot Banter, the monthly show where we talk about the month that was, the box office, the films that once were, that we've come to familiarize ourselves with over the previous month. I'm your host, Tanner Dykstra. I'm joined, as always, by my good friend, Tucker Hazel, and we're here to engage in some, Tucker, say it with me, some box office ballyhoo.
Oh,
there
yeah.
we are. It's been a while since we've engaged in some box office ballyhoo.
About a
It
month.
feels like it, yeah. But it feels like more than a month. So I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Tucker, can I ask why you have your eyes closed?
Oh, I just had them open. I had them closed when we started the video. I'm like, it would be funny if I just continued to have them closed. I don't know how long this is going to last, but we'll see.
Okay, I'm
I
excited
might
to
not,
see.
though. I might not see. You know what I'm saying?
What I would like to see is the viewer, you, the beautiful viewer, to subscribe to Backlot Banter, join our Discord. That link is in the description. You can talk about movies, you can talk about games, you can talk about anything in general with us. You can like this video, you can subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified of all the new videos that we have. And we'd like to implement some new community engagement into Backlot Banter.
B.O.B. is getting engaged, boys.
That's true. We are getting engaged with you. Surprise, surprise.
We should call our subscribers fiancés.
Oh, that's nice. I don't think there's any other YouTuber who does that. So I think we can corner the market there.
Yeah.
So yeah, down in the comments, leave your
Trad
top
wives.
No.
Okay.
Down in the comments, leave your top 5 anticipated box office finishers, domestic openings for this month, just like we'll do at the end of this episode. And also, tell us what your most anticipated film of April is. What are you excited to see?
Yeah.
We'll be writing down all the films that are coming out, or most of them, because there's a lot more, obviously, at the end of the episode again. But
yeah. And going to the future, we'll have these integrated properly into the show. We just had this idea like 5 minutes before we started recording. So by the time May hits, we will have a segment dedicated to which movies are the most anticipated. If anyone got more right than we did, we'll give them a shout out. And it won't be that hard to do that because we're always wrong, especially this month.
Yeah. We'll Tucker, we'll get to that, but actually we'll get to it right now because let's take a look at the top 10. Oh, there's his eyes. There's those blue beauties. They're not blue. Let's take a look at the top 10 box office box office openings, rather, of the month of March. So, at the top, to no one's surprise, is John Wick Chapter 4. To your surprise. Oh, yeah, I guess that is true.
Didn't predict that.
So with a $73 million opening, very, very good for John Wick. Rounding out the top 5, we got Creed 3 at 58, Scream 6, that's the one it is, at 44, Dungan and Dragon at 37, Shazam at 30, and the rest of the 10 we have at number 6, 65, at number 7, oh boy, Demon Slayer and the Swordsmith Village.
Sure, let's go with that.
Number 8, His Only Son. Big fan of that one, of course. We all saw that opening weekend.
Woo, go watch our review, Card in the Corner, you know what I'm saying?
Number 9, Champions, one that I actually did see. And number 10, Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre, which I also saw. So I'm hitting pretty well. I got 8 out of 10 for this month. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got 7 out of 10. Because I'd say this is probably the best top 5 we've had since starting the show. We have had such a weird up and down 2023 so far. We started off January like, whoa, hey, January movies are overperforming. Megan's making a lot of money. Puss in Boots and Avatar are still sticking around. A Man Called Otto is bringing it in the middle of the U.S. conservative market. Holy crap. And then February's like, nope, nothing's making money. Everything's underperforming. What the hell is going on?
Movies are not back.
They're not back. And now we are so backed because we have a solid top 5.
A really great March,
in the top 5, outside of Shazam being big, the highest grossing opening weekends for their respective franchises. John Wick Chapter 4, I think over the 50 million or something like that for Chapter 3. Creed 3 being the biggest, Scream 6 being the biggest, Dungeons & Dragons obviously being a lot bigger than the 2000 movie.
And being a surprise hit. And being a surprise hit.
True, yeah.
For a quote-unquote original fantasy thing, not based on a previous franchise, but based on a real-world franchise.
And also, for the first time really in my memory, having a major Hollywood picture every weekend to go see. There was not one down week this month. We were always going out to see something, and it was it was a lot of fun. This is going to be one of my favorite months. Maybe not because I didn't love all the movies I saw, but just in terms of hype and interest and new stories every week, and this is high grossing this, and everything's making money, and then things are dropping off. This was such a fun month to talk about. It's going to be a very great one to look back on here.
Yeah.
At Backlot Banter.
And if we go over to our top fives, it is revealed, of course, that I underestimated basically everything except for Shazam. I overestimated the Shazam opening. I said 37 for Shazam and I ended up making 30. Whoa.
Let's give you a little credit here.
Okay.
Because you actually perfectly estimated 2 of them. John Wick 4 and Scream 6, you have in the exact right places. But you did expect superhero fatigue to not be a thing, and also maybe for Shazam Fear of the Gods to actually be not terrible, which it was. And then Creed 3 and Dungeons & Dragons both overperformed, so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was talking about specifically my numbers. Like, I had John Wick Chapter 4, which I said would be the top performer for the month, at $45 million opening weekend.
Whoa, yeah, that's low.
Yeah. So I will be taking it into consideration when we do our predictions for April. But nonetheless, I did all right. We did all right. Yeah.
No, I didn't do all right. I mean, I had all 5 movies, but I did not have them even close to the correct order. I overestimated Shazam. I heavily overestimated Scream. And because I, at least at that point, was not really familiar with the Creed franchise and had no connection to Dungeons and Dragons, I grossly underestimated both those. So I did poorly this month.
That's right. Well, you know what, viewer, you can learn from our mistakes, and again, leave your predictions for April's top 5.
We won't learn from our mistakes.
No, absolutely not. We never do. Leave your thoughts, your top 5 in the comments or in the Discord server. As I said, link in the description.
Oh God, yeah.
Tucker, let's break these down picture by picture here a little bit.
It's going to be like a scrapbook.
A little
bunch of pictures.
Yeah. Okay, starting in back early March 3rd, with Creed 3. This is really the first indicator that March is going to be a different beast, with an opening of $58 million. Total gross thus far of $261 million, domestic and international. Really impressive stuff here. Really just busting open this month with a bang.
Yeah, and I think proving that a franchise like this that does solid but usually doesn't overperform itself, performs consistently, but Creed 3 coming out of the gate, blowing the other openings out of the water, that I think proves that movies are back in a different way than maybe we had anticipated. Because if you look back at the movies that performed well last year especially, there wasn't really surprise hits.
Yeah.
Unlike this year where we have gotten some surprise hits, and Creed 3, you're right, being the beginning of March where it's like, holy shit, wait, things are going to be making a lot of money, and I'm so happy that this film made a lot of money because it's really goddamn good.
It is really goddamn good. It's already outgrossed its predecessor, Creed 2, by $20 million. You know, we're a month into this film's release, obviously, and I'm sure, like many other things on this list, it's going to be going to VOD and streaming soon.
Yes.
If not already. But nonetheless, impressive showing for Creed 3. The largest opening for a Rocky film. That's going to be a common occurrence that a March film is going to be the top of its franchise, as you said earlier.
Yeah, and it's also the highest performing in every category that we can throw it at when compared to Creed 2, except for CinemaScore. This is an A-, and not an A. What are you doing, CinemaScore? Like,
I don't know.
Was this really...
Yeah,
whatever.
No Sylvester Stallone.
Hairs, but...
It's no Rocky. That's why they didn't like it.
That could be true. That could be true.
Yeah. But obviously, also, this was the largest worldwide opening for a sports film, which is nuts. That's a whole genre that this thing topped. So cool, very cool for Creed 3 there. Jonathan Majors, who of course this sort of title has become a little sullied now with the allegations levied towards him.
The title of Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, well, the superlative, I guess you would call this, rather.
Gotcha.
But Jonathan Majors, nonetheless, after Creed 3 debuted, became the first actor since Jessica Chastain to have back-to-back #1 films at the box office. Because previous to this, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was #1 at the box office.
And what was Jessica Chastain in?
You want to take a stab, Tucker? It was back in 2013. If you want to take a stab.
Oh, it was X-Men and
no
X-Men.
2013.
I don't know what X-Men movie was in that. Well, it was Zero Dark 30, right?
Zero Dark 30, and that was an early January one, and the one that came out the week before, also early January, was Mama.
Oh.
Yeah, some really bad horror movie with Jessica Chastain in it. So, nonetheless, two back-to-backs for her, two back-to-backs for Jonathan Majors, who, by all accounts, is a really bad dude, really shitty fucking person, real piece of shit, that dude. So, but more Creed projects are in the works with Jonathan Majors, and more specifically, apparently focused on Amara, his daughter from the film. And I'm really excited to see, the Rocky franchise and now the Creed franchise continue to sort of spin out into its own branching cinematic universe in many ways. And an anime series really intrigues me.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we saw what Michael B. Jordan did with Creed 3, pulling in anime influences, and it was one of the great strengths of that film. So if he's involved, maybe in sort of producer role of this anime series, I can see it really being something special. I hope that this means more movies, whether it's spin-off movies or more Creed movies, because frankly, I'm not going to watch a Creed series. But if they end up doing a 15 years later Amara movie, or they do an actual Ivan Drago movie, or they continue the Creed series, I will be absolutely in the seats for those, but just not if they're not on the silver screen.
Lauren Ridloff has been thrown around as a name for that Amara project, which I would love. Obviously,
awesome.
Deaf actress from Eternals and Sound of Metal, both of which I really enjoyed her in. So absolutely, I'd love to see her in a role like that. But moving on, Tucker. Boo! Did I scare you? Tucker, you just screamed, just like the people scream in Scream 6.
That wasn't a full-on scream. Let's be honest.
Startled Yeah.
It was a shout.
It was more of a shout. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this isn't Shout 6, Tucker. This is Scream 6.
That's a great fucking point.
Another franchise record holder now for the biggest opening weekend for the Scream franchise. With 5 previous installments, that's nothing to sneeze at,
No. Yeah. I don't know if that's true adjusted for inflation. I would have to run those numbers. But also, hey, guess what? This is how movies work, baby. Adjusting for inflation makes it seem like nothing ever changes.
Guess what? I don't know what inflation is.
Changes. Nope, yep. Everything's costed $40 for all of history as far as I know. But yeah, a domestic opening of $44 million is very good. I mean, we're so used to seeing movies open somewhere in that low 20s to maybe 30 range, and having 3 back-to-back of almost what you thought the top-grossing movie was going to make is awesome for films. And also, hey, a B+ cinema score for a horror movie is really great.
Yeah, ain't bad.
Horror movies usually get low Bs, sometimes Cs, and basically never A's, and B+ is, just hanging on to that A area. But I think what that shows me is that people really like to see our core actors here, Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera, because they were the big draw for this movie, and I like both of them in this movie, and they have a fan base who's just excited to see them.
Yeah, that fan base, as I noted, some research was done about the opening weekend audience here. 71% of them falling between the ages of 18 and 34, which means that Scream has been accumulating new, younger fans since it debuted back in 1996, which is a good sign for a long-running, healthy franchise that continues to reinvent itself with fresh faces, like Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. Just Jenna Ortega, of course, being a great find for these Scream producers back in 2022, who really exploded over that year, which is so sad. It was really sad to see her explode. We lost her in such a tragic manner.
Oh my god.
What is interesting to note here, though, is that there is no Scream 7 officially announced yet. No green light for Scream 7.
Yeah.
Especially considering that Scream 6 was announced 3 weeks after Scream 2022 released.
Yeah, and we're already past that point. Though, let's be real, it's going to happen.
It's going to
come. The end is it's an open-ended sequel to where we can do more stories. And I think it's a good thing, though, that it's not already greenlit, because I like both Scream 5 and 6 quite a lot, but I think that a larger gap between this and the next release will behoove that creative team, making it feel a little bit more distinct. It will be a positive thing for it to take a year and a half, 2 years, as opposed to like 1 year to the day.
Yeah.
Which is what they did with these two films.
And hopefully they can kick a little bit of this extra cash over Neve Campbell's way and get her actually into this one instead of lazily writing her off.
Yeah, and I hope they give Courtney Cox enough money to kill her character.
That's true. I guess she could also come back because she's not dead either. It's been long enough. We can spoil Scream 6. Who gives a shit?
Fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah.
Sorry, Phil.
What'd you say?
I said sorry, Phil. I'm talking about spoilers.
Oh, yes, of course.
Phil.
The storied legendary figure Phil the Pill from our Discord.
Oh, God, yeah.
You gotta join. You gotta join it to know what we're talking about. But he's great.
The in-jokes.
The in-jokes, of course. Tucker, I don't have a clever segue. 65.
No. Yeah. I thought the clever segue might be, hey, 65% of Rotten Tomatoes. No. Budget of $65 million. No. This movie has nothing 65 about it. It's close to, it might end up close to making 65 million total.
That'd be good.
That's not going to happen because this movie has dropped off the face of the pun intended planet. Is that really a pun? Because I guess they're on a planet, but every movie takes place on a planet, except for like
the planet.
Gravity?
You're talking about our planet, Earth.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
don't know.
But yeah, that's just kind of a stinker across the board here, huh?
Yeah, C+ Cinema Score, which if you know Cinema Score is quite a bad score.
Yes.
A lot of times the worst you're gonna get is like a B. So. 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's rough. That's rough, buddy. Sorry, Adam. And even what I thought this film might have been sort of riding on because I had thought that, we're getting a big American star. We're doing a film with sparse dialogue. Maybe they're trying to position this to be a big overseas seller.
Yeah. That's what you and Abram were very confident about.
Yeah. Not the case because it opened to less than $1 million in China on March 31st.
Jeez.
Yeah. 600,000.
Yeah, and that's the market you thought would save it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as with a lot of these, because this is interesting about research I was doing about these March films, we're getting a lot of the films that were supposed to be opening in 2022 or 2021. That was the case last year, and we're really getting kind of like the stragglers now, and some of them are turning out quite good, if you leave them in the oven a bit longer to bake. So, cool stuff.
Yeah. Didn't really apply to this one. I am curious what you can tell me, Research Man, about the $45 million off for tax rebates, because the most iconic moment in Backlot Banter history is me reading off the budget number of $90 million for 65, and that is true?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, it is true. So, initially, this film did cost to make $90 or $91 million, rather. But thanks to tax rebates, and Tucker, I don't know how inflation works. I certainly couldn't tell you how Hollywood accounting tax rebates work.
Of course not.
So it's like, I don't know. Was Adam Driver a tax write-off? Were the dinosaurs a tax write-off? I don't know. Did we get some...
I don't even know how my own taxes work.
Exactly.
Never pay them.
Yeah. Very good. I think that'll work out in your favor ultimately.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if we want to... 65 is probably like the saddest story of this whole month. Well, actually, the next one might be the saddest story.
No, definitely not, yes.
Yeah. But 12 million opening, I don't know what everyone really expected here, but...
Yeah.
It's 65.
I mean, they expected to make money because they put almost $100 million into this movie, which is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's the budget of almost the budget of our next film.
Yeah.
Or way closer than it should be to the budget of our next film. So this creative team, I just don't know. Honestly, I just don't know what they're thinking. And Adam Driver's been in a lot of weird projects, so this one is not going to mar his celebrity status, but it mars his celebrity status a little bit in my eyes. I'm like, Adam, what are you thinking, buddy?
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to shoot dinosaurs. Can you blame the guy? I don't
like killing animals.
I just hope it ends up making $65 million because I think that'd be real nice.
It's not going to happen. Does this movie have $10 million left in the tank? No way in hell it does. How much money did it make last week? Do you know?
Well, it opened last week. It opened in China on March 31st.
Oh.
Or it opened in, you're just talking overall?
Yes. Last week. There's no way it pulled in more than like 4 or 5.
I don't know, Tucker. Talk about something else for a little bit while I look up the box office numbers.
Can I talk about how bad this movie is?
Because just tell me about it.
I complained about this movie a lot after I saw it. We didn't do a review because we were driving to Texas.
True.
The day after we saw it. But the more I thought about this movie, the more frustrated it made me. Because with a concept like Adam Driver shooting dinosaurs, and oh hey, the planet Earth was a hostile place like an alien world back then, that all sounds cool to me. But then story contrivances, poor characters, poor pacing, very video game aesthetic. This is essentially my 65 review. I hate that movie. I think it's terrible. And I did have to sort of defend its dishonor against you and Abram, who kind of liked it.
Yeah.
Like, the most you can say is, like, actually, it wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was that bad. So if you agree or disagree, actually, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments if you saw 65. But obviously, C+ Cinema Score, 38 Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, I wonder what the Rotten Tomatoes for audience score is.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. But Tucker, I did find the domestic numbers for what it made last weekend, the week of March 24th to the 30th, made $4.4 million.
Okay, so let's say 6 or 7 last week.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe if it is able to stick around in theaters for 2 more weeks, it could eke by that 65 million.
I think so, and I certainly hope so. Just for the sake of, making everything real nice and good with the world,
Yeah, and so instead of making half their budget, they make maybe 2/3 of their budget, kind of close.
No, Tucker actually ended up making $45 million, so they'll be in the green. They'll be in the green.
Oh, yep. Let's go over to someone who's not in the green.
Well, it's in the green on
Zach Levi.
on Rotten Tomatoes. They got that nice green splat with a 52% because this.
Oh, splat like the character from Strange World.
Tucker, that movie's not real. This movie doesn't feel real, except for all the drama. The drama is very real. We're of course talking about Shazam: The Fury of the Gods, which was, as I said, the saddest story of the last month.
Yes,
just because lots of all the drama around this is far more interesting than anything in the film, which is
absolutely
something to be said, I think. Maybe if they made just an adaptation of the drama, we could put that in theaters and maybe make back a little of this money.
The Shazam Fury of the Gods dumb money. This coming out in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Dumb movie.
Yeah, but let's talk the numbers here a little bit. So, budget of 125 has made 120 so far. So, yikes, yikes-a-loony. Is on VOD today, actually, or tomorrow. The new Discussing Film tweet said it was on VOD today, or tomorrow. It's already out by the time you're watching this video.
Yes,
so
it doesn't matter.
You know what? Go stream Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
No.
Pay $12 or whatever it is.
We probably paid like $11 for our tickets. It wasn't worth that.
No, absolutely not.
This is a fascinating film to me because I really do think it feels like a film out of time. This kind of and Quantumania back to back is the kind of really mediocre, not well thought through superhero movies that you expect out of the early 2000s. But we're getting them now at the coming down off the peak of the popularity of both these franchises. And Shazam: Fury of Gods feels like the beginning of the death rattle of the DCEU. And I guess so is Black Adam, and so is the Suicide Squad, and so is Birds of Prey, and so is Wonder Woman 1984. So this death rattle has been going on for 4 years now.
Yeah.
But this is the one that really hit me, because it was a sequel to a movie that reviewed well and did well, reasonably well at the box office, and none of that is true for this film. So DC, I don't know if James Gunn can save it at this point, because superhero fatigue seems to be a real thing.
Yeah, and we say superhero fatigue seems to be a real thing, and I would contend that it's only because we're basing this off of Quantumania and Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yes.
Two, widely speaking, some of the worst received, and maybe two movies that I think are really quite bad, and not reflective for me personally of the wider superhero genre.
No, absolutely. I absolutely agree, but I don't know if the general public agrees, but we will have to see, because we got 3 big summer examples coming up soon.
Yes.
Guardians, Flash, and Blue Beetle, which I have lowered my hopes on for all 3 of those.
And Marvels and Aquaman after that.
True, yes. Those we'll know what superhero fatigue is really like by the end of the summer with 3 movies.
That'll be the interesting narrative to track over this year, is to see are superhero movies really dead in the water, or is it just a momentary hiccup like Shazam: Fury of the Gods?
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about the drama a little bit, because we haven't talked about this. I really personally, or
I don't like talking to you.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair point. So, I think where we stand with the drama right now is it can all be pinned back to our favorite guy in the whole wide world, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh
Black Adam,
yeah.
as we know him, who had, the biggest film of last year, Black Adam, who respected this character so much. He didn't want to make Black Adam a joke. And that's why he made sure his movie was of the utmost quality. And that's why he said, I'm not cameoing in fucking Shazam Fury of the Gods. I'm not cameoing in that trash. And Shazam's not going to be in my movie. Because that's silly. And I'm not silly. Now let me do that shot where the camera's real close to my face that got turned into a meme. Because I'm not silly, god damn it.
Yep.
So, yeah, that seems to be the basis of all of this, is that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson refused to tie in these two films in an interesting move for a cinematic universe.
Yeah, especially one that has been flagging its own interconnectedness for basically its entire existence. The Snyder run of films was really the only time we ever had, like, setups and payoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, like, the Suicide Squad into Peacemaker, if you want to count that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, hey, this and Black Adam were supposed to release, like, a month and a half apart at the end of last year before Warner Brothers shat their fucking pants and they're still shitting their pants. It's still running. Oh God,
Yeah.
Someone plug it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, hey, perfect opportunity to bring back some interconnectedness to the DCEU. You have Shazam and Black Adam who wear the same fucking outfit and receive their powers from the exact same place.
Yes.
And the only interconnectedness they have is, well, spoilers for Shazam Fury of the Gods, is Harcourt shows up, and also Djimon Hounsou's wizard character shows up for like 6 frames in Black Adam.
Yep.
And those are like the worst elements of interconnectivity you could possibly have.
Yeah, because apparently they did have to like film that post-credit scene with Harcourt and Diebeard very late in the game as like a quick patch on like, I don't know, tease something for the future, I guess. And it doesn't get people excited, as it turns out. David F. Sandberg has been a real good sport about this movie, I think. He's had a couple Twitter viral moments where he said like, I already got paid for this movie, so nothing to worry about there.
And Rachel Zegler.
Yeah,
on the same page.
Yeah. And I included a quote from one of his tweets at the bottom here. And this is in reference to Shazam's future in the DCU, James Gunn's DCU. And he said he definitely won't be in the DCU if people don't go see the movie.
Yep,
so,
and they didn't.
So long, Zachary Levi. Won't miss you.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you on the way
won't
out.
Miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
This was just a shit show all around. Especially, I mean, compared to that first movie, which I think is totally fine.
Yeah.
One of the, like, reasonably good points of the DCEU.
Yeah.
And a third of the gross as of right now. This movie cost more, half the Rotten Tomatoes. Actually, very similar IMDb, which is funny.
Yeah.
And a lower cinema score, but not alarmingly lower.
Yeah.
But still, a B+ for a superhero movie is incredibly rare. Really, the only examples of superhero movies getting like a worse score than that are like, I don't know, Eternals and like Morbius and stuff.
Did Quantumania get about around a B+, or did that get an A? Because it did match Quantumania's second week drop at 69%. So.
Which people were really ragging on Quantumania for.
Yeah.
But Quantumania opened like 5 times bigger.
Yeah. Did like 103, I think, was the opening for Quantumania. And this is 30. So
Quantumania got a B.
Okay.
So this actually did slightly better on that.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, Shazam. Oh, God.
As I said...
Let's bring our energy back up!
Okay, energy's back, baby. The week after Shazam, we revived cinema. We got the paddles of life. We scrubbed them together.
We're so
really
gone.
fast.
We're so dead. Cinema's dead.
Yeah.
And then, cinema's back, baby.
I'm thinking cinema's back.
Oh, yeah.
With John Wick Chapter 4. God. Just after the saddest story of the month, the hypest story of the month. $73 million open.
$73 million?
$73 million, a John Wick-illion dollars. 250 million worldwide thus far, and it only opened 2 weeks ago. So, looking strong, looking very, very strong.
Yeah. Well, especially, and I do want to present a possible future to this movie continuing to keep its popularity. As it's really it's good counter programming to Dungeons and Dragons and Mario, because this is the rated R movie, the more serious.
It's the one to go see.
Filled. Yeah. And so if you're looking for a movie for the next 2 weeks and you don't want to see Mario or Dungeons and Dragons, because let's be real, I really don't know what that movie's legs are going to be like, then John Wick is still going to be around on some reasonably sized screens because, I don't know, Creed is gone at this point. Scream's different than that. And 65 and Shazam are dead. So John Wick Chapter 4 has the chance to stick around and provide solid grosses over the next few weeks because it's so different from what's releasing this week and next week.
Yeah, and we got the only certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes score of the month. So that's
and
really
not only
exciting.
certified fresh, but certified really goddamn fresh.
Oh,
95%.
Yeah. Now, a couple very interesting, very like hype superlatives for this one as well. The biggest opening weekend of the franchise once again. The best opening for an R-rated film since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So nice. Bringing movies back.
Yeah.
This was initially announced after John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum released. That it was originally dated for May 2021. And just like Creed, we got some spin-offs in development. Ballerina just got a release date, actually, of June of next year, starring Ana de Armas. I call him John Wick. Keanu Reeves will apparently be coming back for a small-ish role there, as well as Ian McShane. Speaking of Ian McShane, the other spinoff is a limited series for Amazon Prime that is The Continental, which follows young Ian McShane's character and young...
he can't look young.
No, absolutely not. And
young... What are they gonna do? What kind of AI horse shit are they gonna do to that man's face? That man already has like one of the most lined faces I've ever seen.
True.
And that can't look good.
No.
De-aged.
and young Lance Reddick, rest in peace, Lance Reddick.
Oh yeah, already filmed his parts.
Yes.
So he will be in that show, which is, even though he's since passed, yeah.
But Tucker, what are your thoughts on the performance of John Wick Chapter 4?
John Wick is a unicorn franchise in... Unlike basically any other franchise, it has only grown since the first film, which people liked and did fine, but like not super noteworthy. And then people watched the first one, heard that it was kind of crazy, and Keanu Reeves was back in his next big franchise. Okay, no, this is a thing. Oh, the Continental, the world's getting a little bit weirder. John Wick 3 is a little more cinematic, and we're pulling Halle Berry, and we're going around the world. It's crazy. And then everyone's here for John Wick 4.
Yeah.
We were sitting down, we were sweating bullets and hooting and hollering and jumping up in our chairs. This was the cinematic event of the month, and so far, the cinematic event of the year, because our bigger franchises have failed us, ostensibly.
Yeah.
Marvel and DC are doing nothing for us right now. Of course, Star Wars is long dead.
Yes.
So John Wick and Creed are just like, I just imagine Keanu Reeves and Michael B. Jordan like doing the Predator clasp, saving cinema.
Tucker, no, I just noticed something. Audience, I want you to take a look at the John Wick Chapter 4 poster. His tie is an hourglass.
Yeah. I actually noticed this when I was coming out of the theater last week, having seen Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
That is true, but it's not true on Letterboxd when there's not enough space to see that. Like, it's too small, so it just looks like a tie.
Yeah.
But the logo is like significantly below it on like other posters, so it's like, it's a design thing, which I give them credit for, because I have long criticized this film, and I still do, for having the worst poster in the John Wick franchise.
Yes.
And that's a cool touch, but it doesn't save it from being still kind of lame.
Save it, unfortunately. But yeah, John Wick Chapter 4, another thing as we're talking about this, award sickos, Oscar sickos like Tucker and I have been so starved and have been like gnawing at the bit. People putting out their 2024 predictions. It's more popular than ever to put out your 2024 predictions now, which I love. Yeah. I love seeing those. But people are so hungry to talk about awards still that people are like, John Wick Chapter 4, Oscars potential, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, everyone just calm down. Just take a breath. Just take a breath. We got a lot of movies to get through this year, okay? Just calm down.
This is like saying the 355's got Oscar potential last year. Of course, very different.
Yeah.
I actually do think this film is worthy of editing, sound,
absolutely.
cinematography, stunts when they make that category this year.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
No.
I'm sorry, guys.
Now, Tucker, I lied to you. I have to come clean. I'm speaking my truth. Uh-oh. This is not the only certified fresh movie of the year.
Oh, that's true.
Because Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves has I had to double check just now, but a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes now.
It dropped a little bit.
Yeah, it dropped a little bit from 91, but still certified fresh, and, I'd say deservedly so. That's okay.
No, Interestingly so.
Yeah.
I think this feels much more like a solid 73 on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm very surprised that critics especially are praising this film as highly as it is. We just came out of Mario getting like incredibly low scores, which we'll talk about next month. So 90 on Rotten Tomatoes for this movie, I think is overblown. To be 100% honest, it's a fine movie. Yeah. But cool, great.
It whatever. Is cool. That's maybe more what I meant. I mean, it's cool that this got a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes because. Yeah. As is evident, the marketing push for this film, which is entirely reliant on this notion of this movie is good actually, like despite your preconceived notions, it's a good movie, paid off apparently. So
yeah, it did, and you're right. They couldn't have done that without a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was higher, I believe, when they were doing that ad campaign. So that like puts a question mark in people's minds because they could have done that same thing for like if it was like a 78 or something. Like, hey. A lot of critics actually like this. It's not that bad for real. A- cinema score. But having it be like a 96 or whatever it was at the time, like people, are like, what the hell? This is as good as John Wick 4. I gotta go.
Yeah,
it's not as good as John Wick 4.
Tucker, your previous comment about the legs of this film really intrigues me. We are of course recording this the weekend after this film debuts. Yep. Actually, it's not. We're recording this on a Thursday, so we don't know the second weekend for Dungeons and Dragons quite yet. So it'll be interesting to find out.
Neither will people when this video goes up. So.
But Tucker, for the vast majority of this film's lifetime, people will. You know, it's openly available on the internet, the World Wide Web.
Yeah, but everyone is going back to look at the Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves second weekend drop.
Yes, because
kids are gonna be doing it in 2045.
Grandparents will be telling their grandchildren about this. Okay,
about the second weekend drop.
Yes, because I think it might be pretty substantial. I don't see this thing having magnificent legs, lovely legs. I don't see for this film. Especially when we have Mario coming out the week after. So, but you know, still cool that this movie came out and did surprisingly well for what it's worth.
Yeah, the reason I think it doesn't have much potential to have long legs is I think it sits in an unfortunate position between John Wick and Mario, and I think that having a surprisingly solid opening like almost 15 million above what was projected. I mean, mid-20s is what was projected, so 12 above that is great. But we got great action film, family action film, and then family film. Mm-hmm. And if you're gonna go to one or the other, you're gonna go to one or the other. And Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves just sits in like an awkward middle ground. I think
all the fans of Dungeons and Dragons, all the true adventurers out there, went to go see this opening weekend, and I think that shows. But unfortunately, it's not going to help it that much because this thing had a budget of $150 million.
Absurd.
Yeah, it's not gonna make that back at $80 million so far. Sorry, folks.
No, I mean this will cross the century mark total, obviously. Domestic, I could see it hitting 65 or 70.
Yeah.
But it's not going to obviously it's not going to double it. I think there is the chance that it gets close to that 150 million. But considering that we've got Mario out, no, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah. Tucker, I do enjoy that you put the original Dungeons and Dragons film from 2000 on here, which, you know what? For all the criticisms you can levy at Honor Among Thieves, at least it's far, far better than that. From what I know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. You've seen it. No, from what I know.
It's so bad. Oh my god, it's bad. But yeah, I think that's part of why I was pleasantly surprised with this film. I didn't think it was great, but I was like, I didn't hate it as much as I thought it was going to. But it's just like, if you want to say that this is a franchise, a film franchise, it's just like, hey, you want to compare it to the last movie in the series? This did 9 times better on Rotten Tomatoes, like 4 times better cinema score, 2 times better IMDb. It's going to gross like
3 times as much, maybe?
Yeah, if not more than that.
Yeah.
Or it already is almost at 3 times that. So hey.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing about Dungeons and Dragons is this being a number 1 at the box office for its week and a reasonably solid domestic popular film. This will make the franchise Dungeons and Dragons, or the tabletop game, all merchandise, all other things related to it, be more popular. And maybe that's what they're going for here, is starting a franchise, because Dungeons and Dragons has never not been It's never been unpopular.
I mean,
but it's never been super popular.
I think
I think that if they make this a series and they build up the hype and they make us care about characters in this world, which is something that we didn't before this, this could be a good sign going to the future, but it's gonna lose them money.
Yeah, I think it is interesting. You're talking about them franchising this thing, because there was a spin-off Paramount Plus series announced, which God knows everyone has Paramount Plus, so everyone's gonna be watching that. But I think I do see a sequel for this film in the future. But it is really interesting because like Dungeons and Dragons, at least from my perspective, did get far more popular, especially over the pandemic. People watching along, and really series like Critical Role, and whatever the one that College Dropout, no, what College Humor. They're like
College Dropout.
Yeah, I think they have like Dropout TV is their
gotcha.
Thing.
I'm not familiar.
But Brendan Lee Mulligan, he's a very popular like online figure with Dungeons and Dragons. So I think it did grow in popularity, and that no doubt helped this film. And I think it will sort of cyclically help it again, that franchise. And I know there's some like weird behind the scenes stuff going on with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, who was like the original proprietors of Dungeons and Dragons, and the rights and like stuff like that is going on. I have no idea about any of that, so there's drama there that I couldn't tell you anything about. What I couldn't tell you a little bit about is some production history behind this, because after the Dungeons and Dragons 2000 film came out, which itself has an interesting production history about like this first time filmmaker who kind of like tricked people into giving him the rights for Dungeons and Dragons, which is interesting. Another version of this was in development for the better part of a decade now. Production on this began all the way back in 2013 after a lawsuit over the film rights began between Universal and Warner Brothers. And an earlier version of this film was in development under Joe Manganiello, actor Joe Manganiello, who is apparently a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and produced by someone we mentioned in this episode already, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So
interesting.
Yeah. Lots of writers and stuff working on this, lots of directors coming and going on this, but nothing compared to other production hell stories like The Flash.
Yeah, and I actually am, even though I don't, again, I hate to keep saying I don't love this movie, but I hope that it is successful enough to become a movie series, because as it stands, we don't have a major fantasy franchise to check in with every couple of years, because Lord of the Rings and Hobbit have had their time in the sun. Though wait, isn't there
they're making more Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, okay, so maybe that's not even going to be true in a couple of years, but this is going to be a reasonable holdover for fantasy.
Reasonable holdovers is a good way to put it. For those hypothetical Lord of the Rings movies that they said that they're making like a couple weeks ago or whatever. And there is that really cool idea of like the Lord of the Rings anime film that's coming next year, I want to say April of next year.
Yeah, sounds right.
But yeah, cool stuff. Tucker, we talked about things that are coming soon just there with Lord of the Rings stuff, but we got plenty of headlines.
It's not coming soon.
Well, no.
Oh, no, next year's thing is, yes, my bad.
Plenty of news here.
Holy shit, a lot.
So,
easily the most since we've started this show.
March, big month for movies coming out and being announced, and, drama surrounding them and things like that. So, let's start at the top with No Hard Feelings.
Something simple.
Yeah, something simple. No Hard Feelings. We all watched the trailer. Well, clearly we all watched the trailer because it became the most viewed original comedy film trailer in YouTube history. Really impressive. Will that translate into a shockingly high box office?
I don't have hopes, but I'd love to be surprised.
Of course, this is the Jennifer Lawrence raunchy R-rated comedy that releases on the same day as The Flash and Elemental. So tough comp right there.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have faith. But I'll see it.
Absolutely.
And I'm just surprised. Like I can't figure out why this has escaped the bubble to become like something a little bit more popular than other things. Like,
is it the Jennifer Lawrence factor? I think it might be.
Who the hell cares though? But I mean, like, seriously, I like Jennifer Lawrence, but like, she's not a draw anymore, and she hasn't been since the fucking Mockingjay franchise in the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
and she's not even in the new one.
No, she's not. But regardless, Tucker, we're going to talk about Star Wars here. I know, begrudgingly, we're going to talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, I like talking Star Wars.
There's been we can never escape Star Wars talk. But because that's mostly in the realm of TV now, but we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
films. So, or really the lack of. Because the
Yes.
Patty Jenkins Star Wars film was officially shelved last month. And Taika Waititi's Star Wars film is still in production. He's still writing it, folks. He is still writing that Star Wars movie. Don't you worry about it, okay? He's still writing it.
No, he's having sex and smoking crack or whatever instead of working on it.
That movie's gonna end up being like 4 hours long at this rate for the amount of writing he's doing on this thing.
No. I think that's emphatically false.
Yeah.
Even if this movie gets made, which I have very low hopes or not hopes, like faith that it will.
Mm-hmm.
I expect I expect the Thor: Love and Thunder for Star Wars, and it's gonna be like weird and kind of short and slapdash together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Waititi's let the fucking power go to his head from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And the back-to-back of Ragnarok and Jojo Rabbit has gone to his head, and he's like, I'm the king of the world. Everyone loves me. They want me to do their franchises. King of the world. And I expect a bad movie, to be honest, if this happens.
Well, maybe he'll be deflated a little bit by the performance of Next Goal Wins this year, but only time will tell. I didn't put this on here, but there is, Star Wars Celebration is going on in April, coming soon, and we are apparently, supposedly, getting Star Wars film news there as well, so...
Please, for the love of God.
Yeah. Maybe
Star Wars can come back. Just do something different.
Just a clear path is all I'm hoping for. Like, they've said that Taika's movie is the next Star Wars movie that's coming out. So
yeah, and it's still being written.
Yeah.
So that's like 2.5 years away minimum.
So that might change with Star Wars Celebration if they even talk about the movies. But we'll see in due time. We'll talk about that.
There's just no Star Wars scripts out there. No one wants to write a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Well, they're constantly in flux because someone will be like, "Hey, I wrote a Star Wars movie and I'm gonna direct it," and Lucasfilm was like, "Fantastic, you're greenlit." And then 3 months later, they're like, "That's canceled. It's not happening." Okay. Jenna Ortega has been cast in Beetlejuice 2, directed by Tim Burton, which will begin filming later this year. We talked about Jenna earlier with Scream, and another good get. She's very popular, and really an interesting figure. I really am intrigued by Jenna Ortega as like a pop culture figure, because she seems to have this very grounded persona. She is like a art film lover, if I do say so, from
Letterboxd
user. And it's really interesting that she's sort of like begrudgingly is doing this franchise stuff, it seems like. With the release of Shazam, there was news that came out about her Netflix series Wednesday, where she was like fighting the writers on stuff, where she's like, can we make this not lame? She had to overhaul her character of Wednesday to make it more suited towards her and make it more interesting, which I find intriguing. So I'm really excited to see where she goes as a star in the coming years.
Yeah, but I mean, Beetlejuice 2 is a perfect continuation of the energy that she's cultivated, and the fan base that she's cultivated with Wednesday and Scream of horror adjacent kind of wacky comedy. Of course, Tim Burton was involved with Wednesday, but like not as much as maybe he wants you to think or something like that. I don't really know. I didn't watch that.
Yeah, me neither.
But hey, I like some Tim Burton movies. Nothing that he's done recently, because like what was that movie he made? Dumbo.
It might have been
and then,
Dumbo.
Like Big Eyes before that or something like that. So hey, returning to Beetlejuice though, Michael Keaton, Jenna Ortega, perfect for this world. So I'm excited for this, especially because if Jenna Ortega's on board, I have faith that there's like a bar of quality.
Yeah. It also might be like, because I know the sequel idea was Beetlejuice goes to Hawaii or something like that.
Sure.
So,
why not? Yeah. Please, just go wacky with it.
Yeah. Speaking of something that's not so wacky, Tucker, subpoenas. Lawsuits and subpoenas. Now, this was a really interesting story.
The U.S. court system.
That I haven't heard a follow-up to since it broke, sort of mid last month, when it was revealed that Marvel Studios is asking for a federal court to subpoena Reddit, a subreddit entitled Marvel Studios Spoilers, over apparently the leak of the script of Ant-Man and the Wasp's Quantumania. So, I mean, the only notable thing I have to say here is I saw this story, I quote tweeted it saying the only person going to prison over the Quantumania script should be Jeff Loveness, and then lo and behold, Jeff Loveness liked my tweet. I love that. I got some people replying to that tweet saying, hey, you're just a hater, you're a big loser, idiot, you should kill yourself or whatever. I'm like, all right, guys, just calm down.
Oh, God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this, but that's silly.
Yeah.
I think that's stupid because what are they gonna do? Someone's gonna find a different place to fucking leak it if they're gonna have it. Like, just because this exists is not the only reason why the Quantumania script was leaked.
Yeah.
So what are you doing, Marvel Studios?
No,
you don't understand how the internet.
I think
works.
they're just really what it seems to me is like this is just
go to 8chan.
Yeah. Oh God, no, don't go to 8chan. Don't go to 8chan. It really just seems like a cover for the performance of Quantumania, at least a little bit.
True.
Just pushing the blame somewhere else.
Oh God.
Oh, speaking of anti-Marvel, Tarantino. His next film,
Yeah.
The Movie Critic, was announced last month. Filming
Grace Randolph biopic, I believe.
Oh yeah. Oh, apparently everyone thought it was going to be about a famous film critic from the 70s named Pauline Kael. Tarantino came out and said that is not the case. It will be set in 1977, however, he revealed. And it begins filming.
So this hypothetical character not based on Pauline Kael, I swear, will be reviewing like Close Encounters, Star Wars, and like Annie Hall.
Yeah. I heard some rampant speculation about this, which I find intriguing. And if Quentin Tarantino wants to be really petty for his last film, which, I maybe wouldn't put past him, Tarantino, in 2015, famously has beef with Disney Studios over Star Wars. Because apparently, his 2015 film, The Hateful Eight, was showing at some big classic theater in Los Angeles, and it's like the only screen in the city that had like this special size 70 millimeter or something potentially. And he agreed. He found an agreement with the managers of this theater to be like, hey, Hateful Eight's gonna be showing here for X number of weeks, and they're like, perfect, we love you, Quentin Tarantino. Couldn't be happier about it. And then Disney came along with, I don't know, this little film called The Force Awakens, and said, hey, we're going to pay you, not going to pay you more, actually. Either you show The Force Awakens on this big fancy screen, or you will never get a Disney film ever again.
Insane.
And the theater was like, Tarantino, it's Disney, we can't be doing this. And so they cut short his contract.
Our financial future is very much hinged upon being able to show Force Awakens, which, by the way, I'm sure they don't give a shit. I'm sure that theater does not give a shit what Tarantino thinks anymore, because they made the right call for their own financial future, because everyone wanted to see Force Awakens, one of the biggest movies of all time.
Yeah. But, this obviously started some beef between Tarantino and Disney, and if he wanted to take a dig at Star Wars, he said it's explicitly set in 1977. So, I don't know, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see.
James Gunn is confirmed to be directing Superman Legacy. We knew he was writing it. He's confirmed to be directing it now. Coming out summer 2025. Nothing else to add there.
Yeah.
Just nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, if he's able to like rein back his comedy and do a more serious movie with a Superman movie, I have solid hopes. This is gonna be really good.
Yeah. Speaking of the DCEU or the DCU, whichever one I call it, whichever the Flash falls in, Tom Cruise
on the cusp
has seen the Flash.
Yeah,
exactly. He's seen it. He loves it. Okay. He says it's the movie the world needs right now.
This is the weirdest story I've ever heard in my entire life.
We talked about this in our movie draft episode, which is a really cool idea that Phil the Pill came up with. We mentioned him earlier. Credit to him. So we mentioned that Tom Cruise is a classically insane man, but he knows what movies are. He knows what makes good movies. So we'll see.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Hilarious, but also probably means nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah, probably means nothing at the end of the day.
Yep.
New Jordan Peele movie coming out next Christmas. Getting a nice little bow on a Jordan Peele film. Can't wait for that. Will it be Christmas themed?
Could be.
Yeah. And another Monkey Paw Productions, Jordan Peele's production company, is set to come out on September 27th of that year.
Oh, of that year?
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Oh, but he's producing someone else's film.
Yes. It is just his production company. This might be the one about, a football player who has CTE, who, like, finds a house that's buried in his backyard, but what's real because he has CTE.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of awesome.
It sounds pretty cool. And it has a big star attached to it. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, though. more not particularly like movie news, but related to film news. The Writers Guild of America. I almost said the Whiters Guild of America.
The Whiters Guild.
Yeah. Has
probably was the Whiters Guild when it started.
Yeah, honestly. Has placed a ban on AI script writing and editing.
Interesting. Yeah. Sure.
So no using AI to write your scripts, even though they might seem like it. We are ensured, if it is sanctioned by the WGA, that a human person wrote this.
Yeah, good.
Victoria Alonso was fired from Marvel Studios in some sort of interesting and behind-the-scenes drama circumstances, wherein it was apparently because she promoted this film Argentina 1985, and that broke her Disney contract, but then it revealed that that wasn't the reason, and her attorney said, like, she left because there's something big that's going to come out about Disney Studios and Marvel, and she doesn't want to be a part of that, and you'll all see when it happens. So
hey, it's totally possible that that's true.
Alonso was famously the VFX supervisor for the last couple of years on Marvel projects, and was apparently blamed for a lot of the less than stellar practices Marvel Studios has towards VFX houses.
Yeah.
But as many people pointed out, it's kind of like scapegoating to say, like, oh, she was the bad person. No one else in Marvel Studios has any blame, especially not our sweet boy Kevin Feige. He had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I am really interested to see what the combination of, especially this and the slowing down of Marvel projects, what that'll mean, because I think there is a chance that the MCU can come back to somewhat of its former glory. I don't think it's ever going to recapture that late Phase 3 energy, but if the movies are consistently better, we're less inundated with content, and the slower release and more thought putting to these films allows there to be a better sense of momentum, especially now that we've gotten a lot of characters set up, like a lot of characters set up from Phase 4 and now the beginning of 5. I think that there's a chance that all of this could align in a perfect way to where when we're reaching Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, movies, the MCU is so back, and holy shit, the Fantastic Four and X-Men are on the way, and oh my god, the movies are so much better now, and the VFX, remember the shitty old days of Phase 4 when too many projects were coming out and none of them were like that high quality. But hey, I think there's a chance that superhero fatigue might be just hitting a lull. But also it could be downhill, because if these movies aren't doing well, if the Marvels doesn't recapture Captain Marvel's energy because it's not leading into fucking Endgame like Captain Marvel was, and Guardians 3 does fine but not phenomenal, what does this mean for two Avengers movies back to back? They can swing that, but will they swing that? Will they risk that?
Will they end it after that? Will that be it? Will we get no X-Men films in the MCU?
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah. That'd be crazy. Well, Deadpool 3.
Oh, yeah, fair point. Anyway, this is a lot of just we'll see in these headlines, there's a lot to see. But seeing this year, we will see a couple awards films, potentially, almost certainly, with a couple of these. Killers of the Flower Moon got a release date for October 6th, limited, and then wide on October 20th. It will then go to Apple TV Plus on an unspecified date, length of 4 hours on that bad thing. So
Jeepers!
Napoleon and The Holdovers, Ridley Scott's Napoleon and Alexander Payne's The Holdovers will both release on November 22nd. So, things happening.
Crazy.
Things are happening in that awards space, if you can believe it. Tucker, Moana live-action remake was announced just recently, quite recently, actually. The Rock will be producing it. He announced it from The Volume, and he'll be starring in it and producing it.
And that's where it's gonna be filmed, Tanner. It's gonna be shot on location in The Volume.
It's gonna
be shot in whatever the same place that fucking Rob Marshall created to make the goddamn Little Mermaid movie.
Yeah, I don't know, a special little corner in The Volume, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Dark corner.
Yeah, really dark. Specifically, a very dark corner from the lighting of that film. But anyway, yeah, it's been 7 years since Moana came out. By the time this film comes out, it'll be 10, 11 years since it came out. What are we doing, Disney? Are we creatively bankrupt? Are we just showing our hand? We're totally creatively bankrupt. what is the thought process here? Because here's the thing: we've been getting these live action Disney remakes. I'm gonna rant on this for a little bit.
Perfectly fine.
We've been getting these.
What else are they gonna do with their time? You know,
these live action Disney remakes for quite a few years now, and none of them stick around.
When did it start?
2015 with Cinderella.
Cinderella. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Or
haven't seen that.
Technically, there was like the early aughts 101 Dalmatians thing.
Dalmatians. Yeah.
But the modern era really started with Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella, which I haven't seen and have heard is all right, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've been coming out for nearly a decade at this point.
Yeah. Almost one a year, if not more.
Yeah. And they don't stick around. There is no lasting cultural impact for remaking these things on live action. Everyone universally almost always recognizes that they are worse than the original product. So why are we doing it? It is a transparent, money-grabbing practice from Disney. There's clearly, there's technical issues with this. There are story issues with this. They are seemingly like trying to undermine and maybe overtake the legacy that these animated originals have.
Yeah,
failingly.
No, that's definitely true.
Or is it just, we know these things will make money, so we're putting them out. Who gives a fuck? We're Disney. We don't have artistic integrity. Money, 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 money.
I don't know where I read into this, because these live action remakes are such a nothing factor to me.
Yeah.
You know, like box office wise, they're a major factor of Disney's continued success and momentum over the last few years. But I just keep thinking about the effort that they put into these movies of making live action films with fantastical elements and a lot of usually very good CGI, like top notch CGI. What if they made like a new Disney princess movie that was live action, like a new one?
Yeah.
Or like, what if they made like another, like Raya and the Last Dragon was a live action film,
Yeah.
and it had that kind of like budget and VFX put behind it. I think that there's just so much potential for Disney to make new classics in the live action realm, because I do think that they can make solid live action films. They just have only tried every once in a while recently. And they're also like halfway dipping their toe into making movies about their fucking rides with Haunted Mansion and Jungle Cruise. So it's like, what the live action side of Disney, I think is the worst part of Hollywood at this point in time.
If we want to talk about the new bastion of animation, though, we got to talk about DreamWorks, who, they've been pumping out some big stuff like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and to follow that up, Shrek 5 is officially announced now. Original voice cast returning. God bless. We get more Mike Myers as Shrek. And potentially a donkey spinoff.
Yeah, who the hell knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. The Puss in Boots movies are the only ones I really like in the Shrek world, so I'll see this, whatever. I mean, I think the fact that it's been such a long time will make it a novelty.
Shrek Legacy sequel.
But I really hope that this doesn't kick off new Shrek trilogy, because I don't think we need that, frankly.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. We're maybe getting the Shrek CU, so...
I mean, we already have it.
That's true.
There's 6 fucking movies.
That's a good point, actually. There's 2 spin-offs. I think that comprises a cinematic universe.
Yes, absolutely it does.
Street Fighter. We got some live act.
Hold on. Let's talk about the fact that Tetris and the Mario movie, Super Mario Bros. Movie, released within a week of one another. I think they're both good.
Yeah.
The Mario movie is very contentious. It's doing incredibly well with audiences. Tetris is totally fine received, but 2 video game movies released back to back. And suddenly, even though we've heard rumblings in the wind of a lot of different projects, we got Sonic 3 coming next year.
Out of the shadows.
But who the fuck? Every goddamn studio announces video game movie news, and we have 3 headlines back to back about video game movie news, all happening within like 2 or 3 days of the release of this goddamn Mario movie.
Yes. So Street Fighter live action movie is in production. The Minecraft live-action movie starring Jason Momoa will be released on April 4th, 2025. And my favorite of the entirety of this news, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie will be coming out this year, October 27th, sharing a release date with Saw X.
Yeah. This is a hilarious convergence of events, but it also makes a lot of sense because video games seemingly are the next set of IP and interest in franchises, that's going to be the driving force of the Hollywood industry going forward. We've got Warner Brothers making a fucking Minecraft movie, which, if it's not like the worst thing in the world, could be huge. I mean, obviously Minecraft is huge, but we don't even know what this movie's gonna be. Like a live action Minecraft movie. I can't conceive.
I cannot conceive of what this is going to be. I said the funniest outcome is if it's like Sonic the Hedgehog, but with a little like Minecraft Steve tagging along with Jason Momoa, but he doesn't talk. Yeah. I think that's
it's just like a nothing character.
Steve doesn't talk, so
of course not. There's no voice acting in fucking Minecraft. Actually, that's true.
Minecraft story mode
is voice acting in Minecraft. Well,
yes,
but the end credits of Minecraft has two guys talking over it about like the fucking state of the universe, which is totally. I'm just flexing my fucking Minecraft knowledge.
Well, what about the voice acting for the villagers and the zombies and stuff?
They don't like say words. Though. Yeah, like, yeah,
that's voice acting.
Sure, I guess it is. But I'm so excited to see what it could be because I love Minecraft. It's my favorite game of all time. It's probably the most important like single thing to my lifetime. It is like the most important game of the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. And a movie coming out about it is just hilarious in the first place. Street Fighter coming back could be cool if they put some thought into it. But also, I don't know, that Mortal Kombat movie did not set the greatest precedent, even though it was maybe better than the older ones. I don't know. I haven't seen them.
Yeah. I've seen the first Mortal Kombat movie. I mean, it's about what you'd expect for like a 90s Mortal Kombat movie where it's not good, but it's fun to a certain extent. Yeah. So, well, I mean, we liked the Super Mario Brothers, so maybe we can reassess this and have fun with it. And the Street Fighter movie, for that matter. But our last headline...
And there is a Street Fighter movie.
Yes, there is.
I think there are two of them. There's something Chun-Li movie.
Oh!
I think also might be
yes.
live action.
Yes, it is live action. You're right.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone talk about that. Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, 2009. The only name I recognize here is Michael Clark Duncan, which is funny. He plays Balrog.
How about that? And the last quick headline for the month is that Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and The Color Purple have swapped release dates. So Aquaman will now be coming out on December 20th, and The Color Purple is our Christmas movie for this year, December 25th. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it, but we've got a double hitter of Halloween movies this year. Not the Halloween franchise, but about horror movies coming out around Halloween, which is, it's Halloween, it has to be Saw. And look out, Mr. Jigsaw, because Freddy fucking Fazbear is behind you. He's gonna stab you in the gut. Now that I know that this is releasing this year around Halloween, I think Five Nights at Freddy's is going to eat Saw's fucking lunch.
I think so too. And I think all the horror old heads are going to be pissed off when that happens.
But you know what? Fuck them. I mean, horror is such a weird realm in which we're on the... No, wait, why is it Saw X? Are there 9 other Saw movies? Oh, there Jigsaw and
Spiral.
Fucking Spiral. We're 10 movies into this goddamn franchise. It's the only long-running horror franchise that is like still going this year. With 10 goddamn movies, give us something fresh. And guess what? Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be fresh.
Yeah, I think so. It's got Matthew Lillard.
Maybe not Rotten Tomatoes.
It's got Matthew Lillard, so it's got my vote. Frankly, I love you, Tobin Bell, but sorry, I got to ride strong with Matthew. So headlines done, folks. We ran the marathon of headlines this month, and I'm proud of us for doing it. Now let's round it out with April. A look ahead. Yeah. We've seen the Super Mario Brothers movie already, and you can watch our review actually for our thoughts on that. Yep. Our overly long review on the Super Mario Brothers movie. As such, because I talked with two Nintendo super fans, Tucker Hazel and Abram Buhner, about that film. So,
absolutely.
Let's take a look here. You know, we got Chevalier, The Covenant, another Guy Ritchie joint coming this month.
So fun.
Beau is Afraid is maybe the most intriguing title this year, this month to me, because the rest of these I'm either middling or maybe quite excited for. But Beau is Afraid, I'm really intrigued by. Like,
I'm so hyped.
3 hours long. A24 clearly doesn't know how to market this thing. It's cut down from Ari Aster's original intended 4-hour cut. So, is it gonna be good? I don't know.
Who the hell knows?
We could get a third movie slump from Ari Aster. It's not strictly a horror thing. It's much more like a comedic odyssey, as he's kind of described it. So I don't know. Paint, which is apparently awful.
It's bad, apparently. Yeah.
Renfield.
You will know tomorrow. I won't, but I'll be interested to see
Renfield looks awful.
God, so not excited for that, but I'll see it anyway.
Kelly Reichert showing up, which I will see. Looks fun and quaint. It's got Hong Chau and Michelle Williams, two Oscars people from last season. Sisu! I want to talk about Sisu, because Sisu got a trailer that ran before John Wick Chapter 4 from the same studio, but from Lionsgate. And I think having that trailer be the last thing people see before John Wick Chapter 4 starts is the best marketing this film could have asked for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also maybe only getting a limited release, but we'll see, because that's end of the month.
Well, that really fucks my fucking plans.
Yeah,
but
it's only been reported on like some sites, and they could change that after John Wick Chapter 4. More theaters might want to pick this up after John Wick Chapter 4, so we'll see. Super Mario Bros. We've already seen. It's the big news. It's the big news. Polite Society, that's gonna disappoint, I think.
Oh, you don't think it's going to be good?
It's not going to do well. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine.
No, of course not. Yeah, but I also don't think it's expected to. It's just got to be a pretty micro budget, all things considered, and it's obviously not going to get like a wide release. It's just going to be a fun thing that I'm kind of interested in, and hopefully I see.
Yeah. Evil Dead Rise. Will be, if nothing else, we'll be happy to no longer see that trailer before everything.
That and Renfield. Oh my god, I can't wait to see other trailers.
But yeah, I think that looks pretty solid for a horror movie. Air we'll be seeing tomorrow as well. Excited for that. Yeah. Very excited. Yeah. More
next best picture.
More and more buzz about its Oscars potential. Will it have the legs? Will it have the juice? Will it have the jumps? We'll see. Pope's Exorcist. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Oh, actually, okay, so I want to talk about this for a second, because The Edge of 17 is one of my, like, weird favorite movies. I just really like that movie a lot, and you've continuously sold me on this film that it's the next film from that director, and obviously I think that director has a lot of talent. I don't remember her name, but had a lot of talent because she really like. And I watched a trailer for this yesterday, and I don't care. I'm not interested in it. I might see it just to see if doesn't present well in a trailer, but it still might be good. But I watched a trailer yesterday. I'm like, I should know what this is before I see it, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't look that fun.
And obviously, the one that's going to top the charts next month, Mafia Mama.
Let's go.
But again, we'll reiterate, since it's been so long since we said it, because we had a marathon of an episode this month. But give us your top 5. Give us your most anticipated April release.
Give us This Day Your Daily Bread. You know
and forgive us our sins as we forgive our sinners, Tucker. Forgive us our transgressions as we forgive those who transgress against us. In any case,
sure.
And give us your top 5 prediction. Your prediction for the top 5 domestic openings this month. Because here,
and you can base them on ours or not, because we got them real wrong last month. And we've got a very similar ranking here. We did them separately, so there wasn't like influence on each other. But we're not stupid. Number 1 is obviously Mario.
I'm saying 130 for the 5-day for Mario.
Okay. Yeah. Though it has been projected in a gigantic fucking range, so it could like near double that if it really overperforms.
God
damn. Evil Dead Rise, we have confidence in as a franchise, as a bringing back of a franchise.
Marketing push on this. Horror is doing well this year, so I'm saying 38 for the opening of Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah. And then Renfield's just a fucking anomaly. This movie could do very well. They've certainly pushed it. They've certainly marketed it enough for it to do really well. But I just, for some reason, I have more confidence in the shock value and name recognition of Evil Dead over the
novelty
Universal monster movie.
Having Nicolas Cage as Dracula. So
Air.
Oh, I said 30 for Renfield, I think. But I think it could go below that. I don't know if it's gonna get higher than that. Air, another 5-day weekend for this, and I'm saying 20 for Air, which is, I don't know how much this film cost to make actually, But
Yeah.
nonetheless, I think it's gonna have it already has really great word of mouth. It's got like a 95 in audience and critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I hope that I like it.
Yeah.
Because I really don't want to be like the guy that says actually Air is like a 6 out of 10. And people are like, what are you fucking talking about? Look at, like, literally, it's going to win Best Picture and it's the greatest movie of all time. But I only have it at 4 because I really just don't think anything else, when you like look back at that list of like 12 movies I have on there, or one that I have 14 movies on there, how many of these movies are going to have opening weekends? Because that's what we're really talking about here. I think basically everything on this list is between 2 million and 10 million.
Yeah.
And the movies on this list are the only ones that I think have a chance at making reasonable money. Which makes this month really weird and super top heavy because Mario's really the only true blockbuster.
And that's what February was, if you remember, Tucker. Very weird, very top heavy with the release of Quantumania being the only 100 plus opener, and we could see a repeat of that with the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, but I just remember you telling me that you had Air in your top 5, and I'm like, are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. But like, this movie has buzz.
Yeah.
It has actors, and it's good. Yes. So it probably will make. But it has a 5-day, which is an interesting element here. So and then for my number 5, I have Sisu. Because they played that trailer from John Wick 4, and it looks awesome.
Does look awesome.
None of these other movies have like mainstream appeal, other than I think your number 5, which is Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. But I just think Sisu, in terms of action and buzz, I'm a lot more confident.
And the only thing that dissuaded me from not putting Sisu in there is that apparent limited release, which could or could not be true. These two films released on the same day on April 28th, end of April, so we'll see. But I put Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret in there at 15 million opening. I don't think it's going to do well by any stretch of the imagination.
15 million is fine. That's solid.
But I think it also opens the week before Guardians 3, so. But I think what we're looking at here is maybe like Where the Crawdads Sing situation.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Where it's, based on
sort of a teal color on the poster.
Yeah, based on apparently a very popular book that I haven't heard of.
That's what the trailer says. It's like, this classic story has been connecting generations, and I'm like, what's the book? What's the book called? What is this? Is it a thing?
I don't know. But that's what I'm really banking on, is the limited release of Sisu, and maybe some people knowing what Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. If that's what the book's called, I don't know.
Totally fair, yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I think the only other like competitors here are, if Beau's Afraid is weird enough to like pull in some people, and the other ones underperform. And Tanner, I hate to say it, but The Pope's Exorcist is a fucking horror movie, so maybe it'll have like a totally okay opening.
It could.
But I could also see The Pope's Exorcist like going like 3.5 domestic for its opening.
That is, I mean, it's going against Renfield, so.
Oh yeah, so if you're gonna go see a horror movie,
you might go see Renfield.
You're gonna see Renfield.
But yes, there we have it, folks. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Backlot Banter. Again, I'm going to keep pushing the community engagement. We are proposing to you, our fiancés, about...
I forgot about that bit.
So, most anticipated April film, join the Discord. Let us know what your prediction for the top 5 this month is. Bearing in mind that by the time you see this, we'll have a better understanding of what Super Mario Brothers is going to do. But...
Yes.
But
you're all going to put it at number 1 anyway, which is why I don't think it's a problem that we're like late on the draw for this, is because like this doesn't change anything. We were all going to have it at number 1 regardless, so like who the fuck cares?
And we had a lot of headlines this month. Let us know what headline intrigues, worries, or just sort of gets your goat the most,
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next month.